This is a brief tutorial of the game Tokaido as played on Board Game Arena. Tokaido is a very straightforward game where you are following along this path, making different stops to collect sets, money, and other items in order to score the most points at the end of the game. A couple of key things about movement. First of all, the player who is furthest behind in the path always moves next. And that could mean that they move twice in a row. If they move and they're still the farthest behind, they will continue to move until they're no longer the farthest behind, and then the person behind them will move. And whenever there are lines like this at these various ends, the person farthest from this line is the farthest back. So in this case, the blue player would be the next one to go. The other key point with movement is that you can go as far forward as you want in movement up to the next inn. You can't go past the next inn, but you can never go back. And so a lot of this is trying to go just far enough that you can get what you need, taking a spot before someone else takes it, but not going too far because you would be missing out on opportunities to get other stops along the way. We'll talk about the various stops here in a minute, but note that each point along here has one stop along the path, and then some have a stop with a line through them. In those cases, a second player could go on this spot in a 4 or 5 player game. If it's just a 3 or 2 player game, only these spots along the path are open. And like I said, everyone will go along this path until everyone gets to the inn, and then the furthest player back will continue on to the next segment. And this goes through all the way until the end of the game. Every player starts out with a specific amount of money determined by the geisha or character that you choose. You'll have a choice of 2 that give you a starting amount of money and a bonus of some sort that it will explain and will make sense as you learn the game more. Okay, the various stops along the way. So there are some that are very simple. For instance, the yellow stop here, the farms, just give you 3 coins. The hot springs here give you a card that has a certain number of points on it, usually 2 to 3 points. So that's just a way to get straight points. The temple allows you to offer money to the temple. You can offer as much money as you'd like. Every coin that you offer gives you 1 point. And at the end of the game, whoever has the most coins offered to the temple will get 10 points, and then 7, and then I believe 5, and then 3. Ties are always friendly, so if 2 people give the most, they both get 10 points. And you can track that along here on how many coins have been given to the temple in those stops. The black markets here allow you to buy, or villages, allow you to buy souvenirs. And the souvenirs come in different costs, but they come in 4 different types as well. And we'll see that a little bit as we go. And in fact, why don't we see this first turn, because that's the first place that I go. So this person here bought 2 of the goods at the village, the souvenirs. And notice one cost 1 and one cost 2. You can buy as many as you have coin for. I think you are shown up to 3. And they each have a type. There's clothing, food and drink. I think there's art and one other. And these you get as sets. So you don't want to try to get all of the same type, you want to try to get all different types. So for the first one in a set you get 1 point, then the next one you get 3, then 5, then 7. You can have multiple sets, but again, you're trying to get a variety of these souvenirs. So in this case, the player got 1 point for the first in this set and 3 points for the next one in this set, and that's why they have 4 points over here. Then we have the field, or the panoramas. So there's 3 different panoramas. There's the fields, the mountains, and the sea. And these are panoramas that you collect cards in this panorama, and they all fit together in a nice panoramic view. And every time you collect another one, it gives you one more point. So, for example, the fields panorama starts with 1, and there are a total of 3 in that panorama. So the first one's 1 point, the second one is 2 points, and the third one is 3 points. The mountain panorama, I believe, has 4, and the sea has 5. So, but each of them have a different number of panorama cards that make up that entire scene. And every time you stop, you get a new one of that type, and one higher than the one you had before. Also, if you complete your panorama before other players, you get a bonus card that gives you 3 extra points at the end. We'll see a little bit what those look like in a minute. And then finally, the encounter is where it'll draw from a deck of cards that basically gives you one of these other things. It could give you coins, it could give you a panorama, it could give you just points from like a hot spring. It could allow you to give to the temple. There are lots of different variations, but there are variations of the other types of stops. Finally, at the inn, when you come to the inn, there will be a group of cards that are meals. And those meals, the first one will get to choose to pay for a meal. Each of those meals give you 6 points, but they cost different amounts. So if you're the first one there, you could get the cheapest meal for 6 points and only pay 1, whereas somebody else may have to pay 2 or 3. There is a bonus for paying the most for meals at the end, but it's only, I think, 3 points. So it's not something you want to really shoot for, but if you happen to be close to it, that may change your decision on which meal to get. And you can also only have one food type in your display at a time. I'm going to fast forward a bit in the game here, show you a little bit of what the different cards look like so you can see how to collect those. As you can see here, the last player behind in the path is always going next, and usually they're getting the next spot, but sometimes they'll go skip ahead a couple because there's one that they really want, and if they don't get it now, they probably won't. It'll probably be full by their next turn. For instance, I skipped it so that I could come here to this panorama spot. And then eventually everyone stops at these inns and get these inn cards. And they will wait until every player goes to the inn and has a chance to buy a meal. Okay, here we are at the second inn, the second of 4, and you can see I bought 2 meals. They both just cost me 1 coin, whereas for others they may have had to spend more. Not in this case, but they will in the second one because there were some that cost extra. You can see some of the panoramas that I've been starting. So I've started all 3 of my panoramas. This one has 2 already, and these 2 just have 1. But this first one is 1 point, and then the second one is 2 points. This player here has 3 already in their mountain panorama. This hot spring, again, just gives you a certain number of points. Here are some of the items that people have been collecting. This person has got a set of 2 different ones, and then they've started another, but this person has a set of 3. So if they get a 4th kind, then they will get a full set and get 7 points for that last one. We see these various encounter cards that do different things. This one just gave points. This one gave another sea panorama card. If it would give you a panorama card that you don't need because you've completed it, you can just choose a different one to complete. This one lets you just draw a souvenir card and add it to your collection. So they do different things. This one gives you another panorama, and you build this tableau and you continue to build it throughout the game. I ended up not doing as well because I ran out of money. I kept missing these coin spots, and so I could never quite get enough money, and I wasn't able to buy a final meal, even though I did have a lot of panorama cards. I was able to finish the 5 panorama the 5-card panorama and get a lot of points from there, but I was just shy of getting a decent score because of that money issue. Otherwise, though, again, you're just going down the path, collecting things, trying to get good scoring opportunities, depending on what's coming up next, until you get to the final inn and total up points of the game. There's, again, bonuses for if you have the most panorama cards. There's bonuses if you have the most souvenir cards, if you have the most expensive meal. I think there are a few more bonuses that people will get. And then sometimes bonuses happen because of the special powers here. So you'll just have to look at what the different powers are here. And they just add a little bit of variety on what you're able to do, but not too much that it changes the way you play. Hope this was helpful. Thanks.